LA, you thought it couldn't get any worse? Check this out.
ICE raids are still happening all across the country. And guess which cities are in the spotlight? New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. But there's one big issue. They're all sanctuary cities. That means they intentionally limit how much they cooperate with federal immigration enforcement. It's not that they won't work with the feds, it's that they don't want to. And these cities are getting bold about it, trying to operate like their own little nations. Look at Chicago's Brandon Johnson. Now Los Angeles' Karen Bass is doing the same playbook. And yes, Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, an African-American woman, you would expect her to have some compassion for the black community, right? Nope, just like Brandon, she's going all in to protect immigrants instead. Because this isn't about community, it's about power. The strategy is to flood sanctuary cities with migrants, make them citizens, and then flip them into loyal Democratic voters. And now Karen Bass is going viral for what? For handing out cash cards to undocumented migrants. Yep, free money, prepaid cards. And before you say, oh, it's private funding, not taxpayer money, please don't insult our intelligence. If you believe that, you probably believe unicorns pay rent. When I first saw this, I thought it was fake. I mean, even Eric Adams got roasted for trying this in New York. I thought LA was too broke to pull this off, but wow, was I wrong. So here's what Karen Bass is doing. She's bringing back the Angelino card, a program started during COVID that gives out direct cash to people. And guess who's first in line this time? Not veterans, not the homeless black community in Skid Row. No pits, undocumented migrants, the same folks who aren't even supposed to be here legally. You can't make this up. And this is backed by an executive directive, not just words, but full-on action. Let's break that directive down. First, LA will train and prepare city workers to block ICE raids. Second, LAPD will now help protect undocumented migrants instead of enforcing federal law. Third, and this one's wild, Karen Bass wants records from the feds about who ICE has already detained. So not only is LA refusing to cooperate there, demanding ICE intel to help protect illegal immigrants, this is peak clown world. So let me get this straight. If ICE picks up illegal immigrants in Los Angeles, the city is going to demand their whereabouts from the federal government, as if they're entitled to protect people who aren't even supposed to be here. That's right, Karen Bass wants ICE to report back to LA officials about detainees. You can't make this up. These aren't sanctuary policies anymore. This is full-on rebellion. And it doesn't stop there. Karen Bass wants to expand access to city resources for immigrants. That includes direct cash payments to families where someone's been detained. You heard that right. Illegal immigrants out of work. LA's writing them checks. And the outrage? Completely justified. Because LA residents woke up to find their tax dollars going straight into the pockets of foreign nationals. Now, here's the kicker. This wouldn't sting so bad if Americans hadn't overwhelmingly voted for Trump to fix exactly this. 77 million people said, enough is enough, and now we're watching our cities get hijacked by leaders who forgot who they work for. Karen Bass has over 3,000 homeless veterans on LA's streets, but instead of helping them, she's playing ATM for undocumented migrants. Priorities, right? Remember that time Bass showed up to stop ICE from deporting people in MacArthur Park? She was livid. On camera, she said ICE needed to leave, like she was defending her turf. But when it comes to defending black Americans, dead silence. And that silence is finally being called out, because one young black man hit the nail on the head. Karen Bass fought harder for illegal immigrants than she ever did for black reparations. Let's not forget the California Reparations Task Force. That was supposed to be a turning point, a push to finally give black Californians what's long overdue. But Karen Bass didn't go this hard for that. Didn't write executive orders, didn't hand out reparations, debit cards. She's out here protecting undocumented folks like they're royalty. Meanwhile, the people who built this country are begging just to be acknowledged. And sure, some immigrants work and pay taxes, we get it. But that's not the point. They're still here illegally. And now LA wants to give them cash just because their relative got detained. What about the black families burned out by last year's massive LA fire? They didn't get checks. What? About Skid Row's veterans, still waiting? But undocumented immigrants. They get Karen Bass's full energy. Make it make sense. Now listen to this: Democrats in the California state capitol are trying to push a bill that would finally fund black reparations. Sounds great, right? But where was this urgency before? Why is it only now being considered, while Karen Bass rushes to protect non-citizens? The recommendation was clear. Black Californians deserve $800 billion in reparations. But when it's time to cut that check, suddenly, everybody gets cold feet. So California is now talking about giving out billions in taxpayer-funded reparations roughly $1.20 to $2 million per person. Senate Bill 1331 just cleared the Assembly Appropriations Committee. If it passes the Assembly floor and gets the governor's signature, it becomes law. That's the goal of State Senator Stephen Bradford. He wants California to acknowledge its history of racist policies, slavery, and systemic injustice against black Americans. But let me remind y'all, California was a free state. And with the massive budget deficit we're already dealing with, how does it make any sense to nearly triple the state budget to cover reparations? Where's all this money coming from? More taxes, of course. And even then, who's making sure it actually goes to the right people? We've seen how they fumble everything else. Now, here's the twista. Young Hispanic man made a viral video trashing the idea of reparations. It was shared by folks like Tariq Nasheed and blew up all over social media. But notice this, he had a lot to say about black folks getting money, yet never said a word about Latino and immigrant communities getting handouts from cities like Los Angeles. That silence, it's telling. This is what happens when immigrants get prioritized over black Americans. Once they get citizenship, they adopt the same anti-black rhetoric as some of these establishment politicians. I saw it firsthand living in California. Back in the 80s and 90s, you'd see Latinos selling fruit on the freeway. Now their kids are citizens and they're rising fast. But instead of empathy for the black community, they show indifference or even hostility. And let's talk about Karen Bass. She's black, but she's throwing support behind immigrants more than her own community, just like Kamala Harris. When it was time to talk immigration, Kamala was front and center. But when it came to reparations, she ran the other way. Yet somehow, she's still celebrated as a black woman because she knows how to cook soul food. That's how they use culture to win over black voters, with zero intention of giving them anything in return. Brandon Johnson, same thing. He leans on his black family, his ties to Chicago's West Side. But once in office, his policies favor immigrants, not the black voters who got him there. Same story with Eric Adams. He championed immigrants until public pressure made him change his tune. It wasn't conviction, it was a wake-up call. Here's the brutal truth. Once the Democratic Party is done with these black mayors, they'll toss them aside. Karen Bass won't win re-election. Neither will Brandon Johnson or Eric Adams. They'll be cast out, politically useless, and guess what? The party will just throw up another black face to repeat the cycle. That's how the game works anyway. What do y'all think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. Appreciate all you do. Subscribe, hit the bell, and we out.